You are embarrassing yourself and family. You embarrassing yourself. You are embarrassing. Have you ever woke up with a roach on your face?
No, that's not the goal.
All right, then. So there it goes.
That's T.I. with his own son in a headlock, right there, caught on camera at an NFL game broadcast, live to the entire world. But that moment, it was just the tip of the iceberg, because the real storm started when T.I. sparked a wild feud with none other than 50 Cent. And this wasn't just petty rap talk, it got deep, personal, and downright messy. What T.I. did next left the whole culture staring in disbelief. The tension unmatched, the internet exploding, the rap scene on fire. The game's burning hotter than ever, and nobody saw this chaos coming.
50, that's what I said. He don't want no smoke, though. Oh, Lord. I called my man out. He don't want no smoke. He ducking smoke.
What started as a playful versus call-out between two rap legends quickly flipped into one of the nastiest, most ruthless beefs hip-hop's seen in years. Families getting dragged into it, mamas catching strays, wives being posted, sons getting caught in the middle. It was a digital battlefield. Entire legacies were getting roasted in group chats and public threads. And just when everyone thought these two giants were about to take their grudge to the grave, T.I. pulled a move that stunned everyone. He reached out and apologized. Yeah, apologized. But wait.
I'm not raised like...
We're not even close to that part yet, because before that olive branch ever showed up, there was a long trail of diss tracks, deleted Instagram posts, family feuds, and violations so deep that even battle-tested vets cringed. The disrespect went beyond rap. This was real-life smoke, and nobody could predict where it would end. And if you think the 50 Cent drama was the final chapter, think again, because T.I.'s own son, King Harris, jumped into the chaos and went hands-on before the cameras, and the footage still has the internet spinning. Every angle of that clip got replayed, broken down, and dissected like it was a heavyweight title fight. See, the roots of this feud go way back, all the way to the early 2000s, when both T.I. and 50 were dominating hip-hop from opposite ends of the map. T.I. held down Atlanta, repping Bankhead, while 50 ruled Queens, coming straight out of South Jamaica. Both had street cred that was real, not made up in no studio.
Hey, yo, mama dig her up and post a picture that looked better than mama.
On the surface, there was mutual respect. They crossed paths at shows, festivals, and events without issue. But deep down, that pressure was building. Two alpha dogs in the same jungle can't stay cool forever. Each one thought he was the king of the game, and in hip-hop, where rank gets measured daily by hits, features, and cultural pull, the question always lingered: who really outranks who? The storm was brewing, a thundercloud just waiting to crack open. Fast forward to the Versus era, when the whole hip-hop world was begging for legendary matchups, and T.I. claimed that during a TV promo run out in Los Angeles, he and 50 Cent actually shook on a private deal. According to Tip, the plan was simple. He'd make the public challenge, 50 would step up and accept, and the fans would finally get the showdown they'd been craving.
I want to say something about my mama. Your mama, go dig her up.
Two heavyweights, two iconic catalogs, going hit for hit in a war built for the culture. But when it came time for 50 to keep his word, things got weird. According to T.I., the line went dead silent. No call, no text, no response, nothing but crickets. And in this game, when a man you thought was going to stand 10 toes next to you goes ghost, that's not just disappointment, that's straight up disrespect to the code. By early February 2026, T.I. was done keeping quiet. On February 6th and 7th, he pulled up to the nightcap with Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco, and what came out of his mouth wasn't a hint, it was a full-blown call-out. The way he said it, you could hear years of frustration boiling over. Every word hit like a jab, and when you heard it in his own voice, you could feel exactly how fed up he was. That clip exploded online within hours, every feed, every platform. T.I. wasn't hiding in the shadows, he was out front on a nationally watched show, telling the world that Curtis 50 Cent Jackson was ducking the fade. The internet went crazy. And if you know 50 Cent, you already know, that kind of public shot doesn't go unanswered. 50 wasted no time firing back on Instagram, posting old footage from T.I.'s court appearances and throwing up a slick meme that said, "Forget verses, let's do the stay away challenge." He even tossed the LOL on top, classic 50 style, turning his rival into a punchline before the first bar even dropped. But T.I. wasn't laughing, not even close. By February 11th, 50 took it up another level, calling T.I. King Rat on Instagram, digging up those old snitching rumors from T.I.'s 2007 federal firearms case. That post reignited one of the most controversial chapters of T.I.'s career, and the whole hip-hop world stopped to watch the fire spread.
Picture of your mama. She pay respect. Stop playing with my mama.
Getting labeled a rat in hip-hop? That's worse than being called washed. Way worse. That's a stain you can't ever scrub off, no matter how many platinum plaques line your walls. And when 50 Cent threw that name on T.I., the whole internet lit up. But T.I. wasn't letting that slide, not for a second. He came back swinging hard, firing off a message that left no room for confusion, saying straight up that only one of them was the real rat and that he had the paperwork to prove it. He told 50 plain and simple, lace up the gloves or keep quiet and live scared. The tone? Deadly serious. Sure, the social media back and forth was entertaining, but everyone knew the real smoke was gonna come on wax, and when it did, T.I. didn't disappoint. On February 22nd, he sat down with $1 million worth of game and spilled every detail, the call, the handshake, the promise of a versus battle, and how 50 suddenly played dumb once it went public. According to Tip, that wasn't just weak, that was a straight character flaw.
You are embarrassing yourself and family. You embarrassing yourself. You are embarrassing yourself.
Then came February 23rd, and T.I. dropped a nuclear bomb. First came a snippet called War, a clear warning shot that he was coming full force. Hours later, he released the full track, The Right One, and it went places most diss records wouldn't dare touch. Those bars hit like a sledgehammer. T.I. wasn't just checking 50's toughness, he was tearing at the whole image that made Curtis Jackson a global name. He didn't hold back, calling 50 nothing more than a meme page troll hiding behind his phone screen instead of standing on business. And then came the bar that set the internet on fire. T.I. took aim at 50's late mother.
I know you. I know you. I know you though.
Crossing a line even the most hardened rap beef veterans usually respect. The reaction? Explosive. Half the internet applauded Tip for going toe-to-toe with one of hip-hop's sharpest battle rappers. The other half was furious, saying he went too far dragging a deceased parent into the line of fire. But if Tip's diss was the earthquake, what 50 did next was the aftershock that turned the whole thing into a full-blown meltdown. 50 went on Instagram and posted a disrespectful photo of T.I.'s wife, Tiny, captioning it with a cold warning, "Keep my name out your mouths." One post, that's all it took to pull an innocent woman into a war zone, breaking one of the oldest unspoken rules in hip-hop. You don't go after wives or families. And that's when things got personal. T.I. and Tiny's son, KingHarris, jumped in with fire in his chest. He hit Instagram Live, his voice shaking with emotion, and made it clear he wasn't gonna let nobody disrespect his mama. "Nobody was ready for how y'all was raised. I'm not raised like that," King said, his frustration raw and unfiltered. You could feel it. That moment wasn't about rap, clout, or streams. That was family business, and King drew the line right there, warning everyone that crossing it would come with real consequences. And then, King took it somewhere nobody saw coming. In the heat of that fire, he fired off a line so wild it froze the internet in place. He told 50 to tell your mama, dig her up, and post a picture that looked better than mama. The entire timeline went silent, then exploded. A young man telling a billionaire mogul to dig up his deceased mother? That was brutal. It was raw, shocking, and crossed into a zone way past music. This was real pain spilling out in real time. It wasn't slick wordplay or some viral stunt. It was unfiltered emotion. You could feel the rage and heartbreak blending together in every word. This wasn't a clout move. This was a son riding for his mama, protected the woman who raised him no matter the cost. The internet didn't know how to process it. It was that intense. King wasn't performing for likes. You could hear it in his tone, that mix of pride, fury, and loyalty. And of course, 50 did what 50 does best. He clapped back with memes. He went straight to Instagram, posting an image comparing King to Pepe the Frog and calling the whole family ugly.
He capping. Hey. He know I stand on business. He know that. Hey, no, ever pulled my card ever in life.
Just like that, he flipped a deeply emotional situation into internet comedy. It was cold, calculated, and classic 50, turning heartbreak into viral content. But this time, it hit different. Even Tina Knowles, Beyoncé's mother herself, jumped in to defend Tiny, adding a heavyweight layer of cultural power that made everyone stop and realize this beef wasn't just a rap feud anymore. It was echoing through the whole entertainment world. At that point, the internet was holding its breath for real. People started wondering if this thing was about to break past the screens and turn into something you couldn't take back. The tension was thick as to choke on. Every post, every story, every comment had people on edge, waiting for the next explosion. But then came the twist. By February 24th, 50 switched gears like only he could, moving from beef to boss mode. While his opponents were still swinging in the digital ring, 50 was flexing in a whole different arena. He hit social media to announce that he just sold out a Broadway production of Joe Turner's Come and Gone, dropping the shocked face emoji with it, like, while you in the booth recording disses nobody asked for, I'm out here making history. It was the ultimate power move, a reminder that 50 don't just fight in rap battles, he conquers in business, in entertainment, and in legacy.
Stand on business. You drop me somewhere, I stand on business. You drop me in your hood, I stand on.
I'm moving units on stages you can't even get a ticket to. That line alone hit like a knockout punch, the ultimate disrespect. No need for a single bar or diss track because the flex itself said it all. That kind of move doesn't just sting, it rewrites the whole story. Imagine how that feels for T.I. The man just poured every ounce of lyrical venom he had into 2 ruthless diss tracks, one of which crossed a sacred line by taking shots at somebody's late mother, and 50's response wasn't even a verse. It was a Broadway sellout receipt. That's not a clapback, that's a total shift in power. Suddenly, this whole battle wasn't about bars anymore. It was about relevance, influence, and legacy in 2026. And that's a fight T.I. might not have wanted to let the world judge out loud. Because 50 wasn't arguing, he was winning by simply existing at a higher level. Meanwhile, King Harris wasn't staying silent. He stepped back into the ring for his pops, calling out 50's long record of drama, from the beef with Lil' Kim to clashing with Kanye, Floyd Mayweather, and just about everybody else. King painted 50 as a career antagonist, a man who starts fires not out of principle, but for entertainment. He uses his platform as a weapon, King said in frustration, accusing 50 of making controversy his brand. The internet couldn't look away. It was chaos, comedy, and carnage all at once. Then came February 25th, 2026, the day where everything flipped upside down. Out of nowhere, with zero warning, no caption, no sneak peek, 50 Cent wiped every single T.I.-related post off his Instagram. Gone. Every meme, every troll post, every shady caption erased like the whole feud never even happened. The internet went into full detective mode instantly. Was 50 waving a white flag, reloading for something bigger? Did legal teams step in? Or was there something going on behind the scenes that nobody knew about yet? Because let's be real, 50 Cent doesn't back down. This is the same man who went to war with Ja Rule, Rick Ross, Floyd Mayweather, and smiled through every round. His whole reputation is built on relentless energy, endless escalation, and zero chill. So for him to suddenly scrub all the receipts from a beef he was fueling just hours before, that move alone shocked hip-hop like an earthquake. Nobody saw it coming. Not fans, not critics, not even the blogs that live for this type of drama. And here's where the story takes its wildest twist, the part that brought you to this very video. Sources close to both camps started whispering that T.I. made a move no one had on their bingo card. After days of trading brutal disses with shots at mothers, wives, and even kids, Tip reportedly reached out to 50's camp directly, not through social media, not through PR teams, and not through a public statement, but phone to phone, man to man. According to those in the know, the tone of that call was nothing like the energy Tip had been given online. Gone was the bark, the bravado, the smoke talk. What replaced it was calm, deliberate, and surprisingly sincere. Insiders say the word that kept coming up again and again when describing that moment was one nobody expected to hear in this saga: apology.
After weeks of chaos, disses, and emotional explosions, the idea that T.I., the self-proclaimed king of the South, would pick up the phone and apologize to 50 Cent, that shook the culture all over again. Because in a rap world built on pride, power, and image, an apology can sometimes be more shocking than a diss. Now hold up, we're not talking about some begging down on your knees type apology that it recommends image in the streets. Nah, this was something different, a calculated, grown man move, the kind of acknowledgement that says, yo, we went too far. It wasn't weakness, it was awareness. Both sides had crossed lines that should have never been crossed, dragging mothers, both living and gone, into a fight that was supposed to stay between two legends with decades of respect behind their names. T.I. had already made his stance on respect clear during the whole beef. He told the world straight up that he didn't respect 50 anymore and didn't ever want to share a stage with him again. But there's a big difference between not respecting someone's actions and starting a full-blown war that destroys everything in its path. See, T.I. is no rookie to chaos. This is a man who's finessed his way through federal charges, done real time, bounced back from career collapses, and found a way to rebuild every single time. He knows what it means to survive when things get ugly. So apparently, at some point, he realized this battle wasn't just about rap or pride anymore. It was getting ready to burn down everything around him. If it kept going, it wouldn't just damage 50, it was gonna consume King, drag Tiny into it, and scorch every single family member caught in the middle. And for a man like T.I., who's always built his image on protecting his circle, the math had to change, fast. The risk started outweighing the reward. That's why the massive post-deletion on 50's post suddenly made perfect sense. It lined up exactly with what insiders were saying. Because think about it, if you're 50 Cent and the same man who's been firing shots at you non-stop for 3 straight weeks suddenly hits your line with an olive branch and a level-headed tone, you don't clap back with another meme. You recognize the shift. You realize something just changed in the air. It wasn't surrender, it was strategy. The kind of mutual pause that only happens when two giants finally understand that the war they started might end up costing more than either one of them could afford to lose.
You clear the field, you wipe the slate clean, you erase every trace of the chaos and make space for whatever comes next. Peace, business, or just silence. Whatever it was, something shifted. Because the fact that neither side has fired a single shot since February 25th says everything. These were two men posting daily, sometimes hourly, throwing jabs, memes, and full-blown disses at each other. Then suddenly, silence. Total, definite silence. You can feel it. The calm that hits right after a storm leaves nothing standing. Now, of course, the skeptics are already talking. They're saying, hold up, isn't T.I.'s swan song album Kill the King about to drop? And suddenly, people start connecting the dots. From that first verses call out, to the back-to-back diss tracks, to the unexpected apology. Could all of this have been one massive promo play? A perfectly orchestrated rollout designed to drop T.I. right back into the center of the culture at the exact moment he needed the spotlight most? Because let's be real, the timing looks too sharp to ignore. The second T.I. announces his final album, boom, a headline-grabbing beef with 50 Cent magically appears. Like a magic trick, the smoke shows up exactly when the cameras are rolling. And truth be told, that theory holds weight. Hip-hop has a long, messy history of manufactured conflicts that boost album sales. And if anyone knows how the system works, it's T.I., a veteran who's seen the business from every angle. Every meme, every headline, every heated argument in the comments section, that's free promo for a record that ain't even dropped yet. Still, even if that apology has strategy behind it, it happened, and that's important. It meant something real, because you rarely see a man winning a public feud, holding the upper hand in front of millions, suddenly choose to step back instead of pushing the whole thing off a cliff. That kind of self-control doesn't come from weakness, it comes from wisdom. The Black Wall Street Times even reported that by February 20th, the feud had turned deeply personal. And if you know hip-hop history, you know how personal beefs can end, not in music, but in tragedy. So for Tip to extend a hand instead of a new diss, that might have been the smartest, most grown man move of the whole saga. Because in this game, it takes way more heart to de-escalate than it does to keep firing shots.
But don't think that was the only battle T.I. had to face, because before all the memes, before the diss tracks, before the deleted posts and podcast smoke, there was another moment, one that showed a completely different side of T.I.'s world. It wasn't about the industry or rap rankings or streaming numbers. It was raw, real, and caught entirely on camera. 2 years before the Versus drama ever kicked off, T.I. found himself in another confrontation, one that turned physical, messy, and painfully public. This one didn't need lyrics or bars. It spoke volumes all by itself. And that moment gave the world a glimpse into just how explosive things can get when personal and public life collide. This moment wasn't about rap beef, fame, or industry rivalries. It was about something way deeper. The hardest relationship any man will ever try to navigate, the one with his own son. What went down at that Atlanta Falcons game on November 26, 2023 still hits hard to this day, because it wasn't about celebrity or clout. It was about fatherhood, pride, and the painful clash between generations. It tapped into something universal, that eternal struggle between a father trying to guide and a young man desperate to prove he's already grown. It was supposed to be a normal, chill, family day out, Falcons versus Saints at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. T.I. was on socials earlier that day, smiling, showing love to his kids, hyping up the game, just doing the regular dad thing. Everything looked calm, positive, and picture perfect, like any other Sunday in Atlanta where a well-known family posts up in a luxury suite enjoying life. But then, TIandKingHarris went live on Instagram from that same suite, and what the world saw next flipped everything upside down. In seconds, a private father-son disagreement turned into a viral moment. What started with words turned into hands, right there on camera. It wasn't planned, but once King hit that go live button, the moment was out there forever. One tap, and suddenly millions were watching what should have been a family conversation turn into a public spectacle. From that point on, the internet couldn't stop replaying it. Every angle, every second, every reaction, because it wasn't just drama, it was real life unfolding in front of everyone. You could see the frustration in T.I.'s face, not as a rapper, but as a father trying to get through to his son. And you could see the defiance in King, a young man standing his ground, trying to prove he's built for the world on his own. T.I. wasn't just arguing, he was teaching. He was making a point that hits every generation, the gap between a self-made man who clawed his way out of struggle and the kid who never had to face that same fire. On camera, T.I. asked King if he even understood what real struggle looked like, if he had ever truly tasted the kind of hunger and hardship that shaped his father into who he is today. And that's where the now infamous Roach question came from. It wasn't random. It was a test, a challenge to King's tough talk, a reminder that the streets T.I. survived would have devoured him without hesitation. The message was raw but real, the kind of truth that hurts in public but means love in private. It was a reminder that no matter how rich or famous a family gets, the fight between where a man came from and where his son is growing up never really goes away.
Tip wasn't just talking, he was calling out a whole mindset. He was checking that performative urge to wear hood like a fashion statement when you never had to live through the hood for real. He told his own son straight up, wanting to hang in the trenches for clout and actually surviving them are two completely different worlds. One gets your views, the other gets your scars, and no amount of social media can earn you the right to claim the struggle you never lived. The message was clear as day, crystal. In Tip's eyes, TIandKingHarris's tough guy talk was just costume play. And for a young man desperate to carve out his own identity, to step out from under the shadow of a world-famous father, hearing that live in front of millions cut deep. That moment wasn't just a disagreement, it was the spark that blew their whole dynamic wide open, the son who refused to kneel. What happened next inside that Falcon suite was more than a family argument. It was a snapshot of what it means to live in the social media age, where one emotional tap on a phone can turn private pain into global entertainment. TIandKingHarris didn't back down. He didn't swallow his pride or let his father's words slide. Nah, he pushed back with everything in him, and you could tell from the way they went back and forth, this wasn't the first time they clashed over this exact issue. It was the same question that had probably been building for years. Is TIandKingHarris really his own man, or is he just living inside a fortress built by his father's money?
That's the wound right there. The silver spoon talk, the Nepo baby label, the whispers that everything King has was handed to him instead of earned. Those hits don't come from strangers, they come from inside the family, and that's what makes them hurt 10 times worse. Because no matter how famous, no matter how proud, the only validation that truly matters is the one from your own blood, your father. When King fired back, I know you don't. You could hear it, the pain, the frustration, the desperation tearing through every syllable. He wasn't crafting a clean argument. His emotions were spilling out faster than his words could catch up. It wasn't about logic anymore. It was raw feeling, straight from the heart of a son who just wanted his father to see him as more than the kid who grew up in luxury. King knows who his dad is, a man who's walked through fire he's never felt. He knows his pops has earned every ounce of his legacy with blood, sweat, and consequences. But King also believes he knows himself, that he's more than just T.I.'s son. And in that heightened moment, it felt like his own father was stripping away his identity in front of the entire world. The shaken voice, the stutter, the overlapping sentences, that wasn't weakness, that was the sound of pain colliding with pride. It's what happens when the person you love most on this planet, the one whose opinion means everything, looks you in the eye and tells you that you're not who you think you are. That's not just a viral clip, that's heartbreak caught on camera, a father trying to teach, a son trying to be seen, and the whole world watching a love language turn into a battlefield. Business, that one word, that phrase, I stand on business, became the defining bar of the entire incident. It wasn't just a quote, it was King Harris's personal anthem, his declaration of identity, his way of shouting to both the world and his father, I'm not soft, I'm not privileged, and I'm not pretending to be tough. That moment became the core of everything, a young man demanding to be seen for who he really is. Every son hits that point someday, the moment where he looks his father straight in the eye and says, I'm my own man. But King did it under stadium lights, with the whole internet watching in real time, comments flying, screenshots spreading, people dissecting every second like a live broadcast of a family fracture. What was supposed to be a private coming-of-age moment became a public showdown. And then the argument took that sharp turn. Words weren't enough anymore. Someone threw a shove, and everything shifted in a heartbeat. In that split second, T.I. reacted, his instincts kicked in, and he locked his son in a headlock. It was a move that landed somewhere between fatherly protection and raw frustration, the kind of grip a dad uses when he's not trying to harm, but trying to halt, when words fail and physical presence becomes the only language left to speak. That was Tip's breaking point. 0.6 seconds of real, unfiltered emotion caught on camera, a moment millions would replay on loop across social media. You could feel it, that mix of anger, fear, and love all colliding in a single motion. He wasn't attacking his son, he was containing him, trying to keep King from saying or doing something that could turn a bad scene into a disaster. It wasn't malice, it was a desperate attempt at control, the kind every parent recognizes when emotions spin too fast to catch with words. But let's be real, the optics were brutal. A Grammy-winning rap icon, a man who'd survived federal time and rebuilt himself into a respected mogul, caught on camera wrestling with his own child inside a luxury suite at an NFL game. It looked wild, a viral clip tailor-made for headlines. And while the world was watching the chaos unfold, one person jumped in without hesitation, Tiny. She stepped between them, separating father and son before the situation could explode any further. You could see the urgency in her face, the kind of instinct only a mother has when she's watching two people she loved collide head first. She became the peace in the middle of the storm, pulling them apart while cameras kept rolling and millions of eyes stayed glued to the drama. That split second, father, son, and mother in the same frame, wasn't just a viral moment, it was the human cost of fame, the price of living life under a spotlight that never turns off.
For a brief moment, that suite went dead quiet, the kind of silence that only comes after something explodes. Right after the clash,
King jumped on Instagram stories, posting messages dripping with pain and defiance, saying nobody could run up on him, and even questioning if his own family saw him as a mistake. The post disappeared fast, but not before the internet screenshotted every word and spread them everywhere. T.I.'s response came calm, but firm. He told folks to mind their business, making it clear this was family stuff, not a public spectacle. And truthfully, this wasn't the first time they clashed. Reports from a 2022 Waffle House incident hinted at a repeating pattern. Father and son locked in the same power struggle that never really got resolved. Even after that NFL moment went viral, King wasn't backing down. He stayed defiant, still trying to prove his toughness was real, still fighting to define himself instead of living in his father's shadow. That stubbornness, that refusal to bend, said everything about where his head was. He wasn't just defending pride. He was fighting for identity. It's that universal tension, the father who came up from nothing versus the son born into everything. Different worlds, same blood, same fire. But within days, the tone softened. T.I. posted publicly, reaffirming his love for King, saying they were tied together like a knot and that he'd ride to the heavens or the depths of the abyss for his family. Even through the chaos, that bond held strong. T.I. eventually flipped the narrative, putting King's music front and center, especially a track called Father Like Sons featuring his brother Damani. It was his way of showing the world that, despite the chaos and the viral blow-up, that father-son bond was cracked but never broken. The love was still there, it just needed to fight its way through the noise. By 2025, King shared a reflection post online, calling himself the man my father raised me to be. He admitted that he and Tip were finally seeing eye to eye, living proof that the Falcons game, as wild and ugly as it was, might have been a turning point, not the point of no return. Sometimes, pain breaks walls that words can't, and this family proved it. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Hit that notification bell so you never miss the next deep dive into hip-hop's most explosive real-life moments.